Hello, I'm Jeff Richards. I taught English in Medenine College Secondaire from '66 to '68. I now live in Minneapolis with my wife Linda.
Hi, Linda Nelson. I'm an attorney and been married to Jeff for about 28 years, and from the first moment I've heard about Tunisia and happy to be here.
Well, you're only a few days into the trip, and Jeff, you haven't made it to Medenine yet. You will be there in a few days. Just in your initial days of coming back to Tunisia, what kind of impressions do you have after so many years of being away?
Well, it's just a wonderland for me. I have seen so much. A lot has changed, but so much is still the same. The old Arabic is coming back, and now that I've had a chance to study up and learn what I'm seeing, I see the whole thing in much better perspective. Plus, I'm getting a sort of political and sociological perspective on things that I never had before.
And Linda, you mentioned how you know that Tunisia was an important part of Jeff's past. How has he expressed that over these years of your marriage together?
Well, Jeff will reflect on how having lived in Tunisia affected his life, and it's been a strong influence. The things he learned, the experiences he had, the people he knew, and the kinds of things he learned. The benefits for himself of being in the Peace Corps were substantial.
And in these first, you've been here now several days, you've been in Tunis, the capital, and now some of the rural areas. Any impressions? One, I'd like to hear from both of you. Linda, you've never been here. You've heard Jeff talk about it for years. What are your initial impressions just of seeing Tunisia, both the urban and some of these rural areas?
Well, the first impression was the buildings are all white and blue. It reminded me of Greece. I hadn't thought about that, but it was kind of striking. The rural areas, I know this year has been pretty wet, but they're so green, so lush. The agricultural area in the north where wheat is growing was not something I expected from Tunisia. I had the vision of the Sahara Desert, I guess. So it's quite different. And
Jeff, any new impressions that in some ways, what are you seeing that remains the same Tunisianness that you remembered?
Well, the people are much the same. The language perhaps is a little more English and a little less French, but the culture is much the same. I'm seeing parts of the country that I never had a chance to see when I was here before, and am really impressed by the wonderful ruins of Duga, for example, which I hadn't got around to while I was here. It's a beautiful springtime atmosphere here, and it's just stunningly beautiful. So,
well, can I ask you just, if Americans say to you, Tunisia, isn't that the country that just had the revolution, or weren't you concerned? What would your initial reactions be to what you've experienced these few days about to a question like that?
I would say it lends an air of excitement and possibility to a very resilient people with, several thousand years of history behind them, and my heart goes out to them, and I'm just happy to be able to participate a little bit in it myself.
I guess I would say the idea of dangerous hasn't even occurred to me. It's been beautiful and welcoming, and while there may be struggles ahead for Tunisia, I think that they have a rich, varied culture that they're building on, and it's an exciting time.
Great. Well, you have another week here. We wish you lots of fun and enjoyment. And Jeff, I think it's particularly wonderful, and I'm almost envious of you to be able to return to any place that it had such impact on you. And thank you for sharing with us.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
Great.
Thank you.